رسوله الكريم أما بعد. By the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has enabled us to perform Isha Salah with Iman and Islam with our health. Alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant afiyah to the Ummah, remove the affliction, the difficulty which is on Ummah, remove it away from the Ummah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant shifa for those people who are suffering from the COVID-19. Our 3 family members in Saudi Arabia have been affected by COVID-19. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove the illness away from them and grant them afiyah. Imam Abu Dawood rahmatullah alayh, he was a great scholar, and subhanallah, like Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, he also compiled a book of hadith called Abu Dawood Sharif and Sunan Abu Dawood, and it's a very famous book of hadith. It's a very famous book of hadith, and it's been accepted so much that every scholar, whoever becomes a scholar around the world, like he reads, understands, and comprehends Bukhari, he also understands and comprehends Muslim, and he also understands and comprehends Abu Dawood, and there are a few more books. Without understanding and comprehending these books, the scholars are not complete scholars. So Imam Bukhari says, I memorized, or I understand, I gathered 500,000 of hadiths, 500,000 hadiths, 500,000 of hadiths. From 500,000, I compiled in my book 4,000 hadiths, which were fulfilling his conditions. So every muhaddis used to have a conditions, and on the basis of those conditions, they used to compile the book of hadiths, and those conditions were not fulfilled, so they used to not collect and compile in their book of hadiths. So they have standards, they have strict conditions. So they used to maintain those standards and those conditions. So Imam Abu Dawood here compiled 4,000 hadiths in Sunan Abu Dawood, and he says from the 4,000 hadiths, the summary, the essence I find in 4 hadiths. The summary and essence I find in the 4 hadiths. And the first one he says, Al-halalu bayyinun wal-haramu bayyinun wa baynahuma mushtabihat. That Allah Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, halal has been described to you openly, clearly. There is no black and white area. Al-haram has also been described to you openly, clearly. There is no black and white area. And wa baynahuma mushtabihat. And there is a pathway which is a gray area. And the Prophet ﷺ said, stay away from that mushtabihat, the between the 2 boundaries, the pathway. Stay away from that pathway, because if you start going there, you might end up in haram. So an example the ulama give: if the shepherd is grazing his animals over the borders of his farm to the neighbors, the neighbor farm, so what will happen? Sometimes the animal will cross the boundaries. So stay away from the mushtabihat, the doubtful things. And the second hadith, he says, innamal a'malu binniyat, the hadith which Imam Bukhari rahimahullah has compiled in his first hadith in his compilation. So this hadith is very important. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, normally we translate, says, innamal a'malu binniyat, your actions are depending on the intentions. So it is because the niyyah, the objective of life, your actions, every action of your life, describe what is your objective of your life. हर जिंदगी का एक अमल, हर अमल जिंदगी का दिखलाता है कि आपकी जिंदगी का मकसद क्या है. So every action of your life describe what is your objective of life. Every move of your life describes what is your objective of your life. What is deriving you. आपको चलाने वाली ताकत किस नहज पर आप चल रहे हैं और क्यों चल रहे हैं. And that is why the ulama says, निय्यतुल मुमिनी खैरु मिन अमलिही. मोमिन की नियत उसके अमल से 10,000 गुना बेहतर है. और बहुत से दफा वो अमल नहीं करता है, मगर सिर्फ जज्बा होता है, खुदा उसको देता है. सोच होती है, खुदा उसको देता है. इन्नमल अमालु बिन्नियात. So purify your thoughts. अपनी सोचें साफ करो, अपनी सोचें पाक करो, अपनी सोचों में नेकी लेकर आओ. Because your actions comes through your thoughts. You utter what you think. You utter what you hear. and those hearings becomes the thoughts, and then you utter those thoughts. And whatever you hear, whatever you see, it becomes the thoughts and you execute them. फिर आप उसको करते हैं. इसलिए सोचों को पाक करो. And deen is the name to purify your thoughts. सोच पाक करना. सोच पाक करना. And in the Quran there is ayat, ما سلككم في سقر. And some people who will end up in Jahannam. And people were expecting them to be in Jannah because their noble external behavior, उनकी नमाजें या उनका ज़कात, उनका सदका बहुत अच्छा था, पर फिर भी ये उनकी ज़िंदगी अच्छी थी, फिर भी वो जहन्नम में पहुंच गए. तो so Quran says, ما سلككم في سقر. So people will say, what happened to you? How did you end up in Jahannam? So there's a few things is described here. قالوا لم نكن من المصلين. कि हम नमाज नहीं पढ़ते थे. So they were good अच्छे लोग थे जिनके बारे में लोगों का गुमान था ये जन्नत में जाना चाहिए, वो जहन्नम में पहुंच गए. तो उनके पास नमाज की पाबंदी नहीं थी. ما سلككم في سقر قالوا لم نكن من المصلين. And we don't used to read salah. And the second thing he said, وَلَمْ نَكُ نُطْعِمُ الْمِسْكِينَ. وَلَمْ نَكُ نُطْعِمُ الْمِسْكِينَ. ये भी हम तो सोचते नहीं हैं, ये भी जहन्नम में ले जाने वाला काम है कि हम खाना नहीं खिलाते थे, हम नमाज नहीं पढ़ते थे, खाना नहीं खिलाते थे. We never used to feed others. हम तो सोचते नहीं है ऐसा काम, यानी खिलाना भी जन्नत में ले जाने वाला काम है. وَلَمْ نَكُ نُطْعِمُ الْمِسْكِينَ. And then the third one, this is very strong and this is very common in our lives. وَكُنَّا نَخُوضُ مَعَ الْخَائِضِينَ. मैं तो जितने ये चैनल्स हैं, न्यूज़ चैनल्स हैं, इन्होंने तो हमारा बेड़ा गर्क किया है. इतनी ग़ीबतें करते हैं, कौम का मिजाज ही ग़ीबत का बना दिया है. The anchors, the news anchors, the amount of ghibbat they do, the community has turned into the gossip market. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that we never used to utter gossips. We used to be hanged with those people who used to gossip. हम होते थे उन लोगों के साथ जो ग़ीबतें करते थे. ये ने कहा जो ग़ीबत हम करते थे, ग़ीबत नहीं करते थे, हम होते थे उन लोगों के साथ जो ग़ीबतें करते थे, उनकी ग़ीबत से मज़े लेते थे. And وَكُنَّا نُكَذِّبُ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ. And we used to deny the day of Akhirah. Akhirat ka khawf nahi tha. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to purify our actions. So first hadith, the four hadiths I want to mention and conclude. First hadith, he says, Al-halalu bayyinun wal-haramu bayyinun. Halal has been said to you, it's clearly mentioned to you, and haram is clearly mentioned to you. Between halal and haram, there is a gray area. That's a doubtful area. Stay away from it. And second hadith, he said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Purify your thoughts. And the third hadith says, مِنْ حُسْنِ إِسْلَامِ الْمَرْءِ تَرْكُهُ مَا لَا يَعْنِيهِ. The beauty of the man in Islam is that he doesn't get involved. Anything it's none of his business. आदमी की खूबसूरती इसमें है, इस्लाम मुसलमान आदमी की खूबसूरती इसमें है कि जो चीज़ें मानेदार नहीं हैं, नफ़ा बख्श नहीं है, उसमें इन्वॉल्व ही नहीं होना. मिन हुस्न इस्लाम मरी तरकुहु मा ला यानी. And the fourth thing, Imam Abu Dawood rahimahullah says, Inna Allah yaqbalu at-tayyib wa yuhibbu at-tayyib. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only accepts pure things. पाक शफाफ चीज़ें कबूल करते हैं. सदका हो, अमल हो, एक्शन हो, अखलाक हो, जो कुछ हो, पाक चीज़ें कबूल करते हैं. And if you see, the first hadith is regarding worship, and the next three hadiths are regarding our amal, our actions, our character, our behavior, our attitude. Or we think the first thing, if we have first thing and we don't have the next three things, we will still go most likely in Jannah. No, we will be accountable. Because first thing is related to Allah. The next three things are related to the creation. And Allah can forgive his right, but the creation's right, he will not let it go until the creation forgives for that person. And that is why it is very important. It is very important to keep ourselves busy with the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our Hazrat rahimahullah used to say, in every move of your life, whatever you are doing, just think for a moment. If a Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how the way he used to do it, adopt that. If any challenge come to you, think how Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have faced this challenge. Adopt that. If someone said something to you which you don't like it, think the Prophet ﷺ, how he would have done it, and adopt that seerah. So bring the thought of Rasulullah ﷺ in every action, and that is the only salvation and getting the pathway to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also the pathway to get closer to Prophet ﷺ. A very big Sheikh Nuruddin has passed away of Syria. Today, he had thousands of disciples and students. One of his sayings that I have earned the knowledge of Islam and Deen, not for fame or prestige, rather, but to keep me connected with the sayings of the noble Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, I have gained the knowledge of Deen, not for fame or prestige, ना शोहरत के लिए, ना दिखावे के लिए, बल्कि अपने आप को आका के कलाम के साथ मरबूत रखने के लिए. So connect our life with the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is why we do this hadith halaqa every single day, and that is why our elders advise to do ta'aleem in our house every single day. There should not be a day in our house where we are not sitting with our children and reading the lifestyle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is will build, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to do more as well. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحان الله بحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.